Hello, I am going to make some apple cider vinegar, okay? And anybody can make apple cider vinegar. It's very cheap to make and it's very expensive to buy. Now, this I am making with my own apples off the trees. These we've collected, some of them were actually fallen apples. I've given them a really good wash, and I know you can see all horrible dark bits and everything, but you cut those out and they're not a problem, so don't worry about it. So I'm going to start. Now, the thing to do with the apples is to just cut them in half like this. Check them that they haven't got anything inside, which that's nice and clean. Then literally just cut them into pieces. It's very easy, and all you need as well is a jar, much like, how easy is that? There's one of my jars I've already washed from before. Pop them all in into the jars. It's very quick and very easy to do. You don't have to think about it too much, as long as you remember the basic recipe, which is what I'm going to show you. Now, here we have, I've given these a really good scrub. Now here we have, they've got these little marks on the skin, you see? But that little mark doesn't really go very far. If I show you, there you go, look, it's not actually underneath. And if you want, you can check these things that they're nice and clean, but it's nothing to worry about because it doesn't actually come off into the vinegar, and if it does, it will die, so whatever's in it, but it shouldn't. So clean them as much as you can, but I really honestly do not worry about it, okay? Now what you need to do is make sure that you scrub out the centre of the apple in both sides, because quite often when they've been there outside all summer, they might have a little bit of grit and rubbish in it, and you don't want that in, so give that a really good scrub, and that is one thing I did do. You need to be counting how many apples you put in your jar, okay? And this is exactly how I made it before. That one again, look, that one again has got a mark on it. I'm going to cut down the centre of it, so you can see it's just a mark. It's not actually gone into the apple. So now sometimes you might get a grub in an apple, and obviously discard that one. So you cut them into a nice size, like that, and fill it up. So for each apple that you use, you have to count how many apples you use, because you need the same amount in teaspoons of sugar. Okay? Nice and clean. Now, see that there has got a bit of a darker mark, so I'm just going to cut that. There you see it's got something inside, so I will just completely chop that out until I see it's clean, okay? And that will go on the compost, same as that one, okay? So you don't have to worry about it too much, just pay attention, it'll be fine. So, very quick, and you can do this with your pears as well. There's 4, I think that was 4. Now, you don't want to fill this to the absolute top, because you've got to get your water in and it's got to cover the apples. So that's about the amount that I do. I usually sort of I've been putting it in about that much, okay? Fill it up to like that. So that's that one. And then I'm going to do this one. Apples as well. I'm not going to do any pears this year now, because I've got no more pears left. So, but next year I'm going to save a lot of my pears, because I just didn't bother to save many this year, and I should have done. I've actually got quite a few of my apples in the fridge that I picked and washed them, and I put them in the fridge a few weeks ago, and they're still absolutely fine. But if you don't have apple trees, or you've got a neighbour who's got a surplus of apples, then you can just buy some from the shops, and you can just make this yourself. But there's always, usually, you can find somebody who's just giving apples away at the side of the road. But, and also the other thing is, these are my Bramley apples, and these are quite bitter, sort of sour, so they'll make more of a sour vinegar, whereas you can use sweet eating apples and they would make a less astringent taste. Now, the sugar in the apple cider vinegar, once it starts reacting to the apples, it turns the sugar into acetic acid, from what I understand. Listening to other people on YouTube, I've watched quite a few videos about it and still learning myself, but you know, everybody's got to learn, haven't they? We've all got to find out how to do these things. So the best way to do is it's like a fantastic learning medium. You can find everything out on YouTube if you look, or any of these other the video channels, and it's really valuable. Things from mending cars to planting plants, vegetables and everything, and making things like this, you see. So right now I've got one more jar here. This is this. So now because I've got SCOBY from the last time when I made my apple cider vinegar, I'm not going to put as much sugar in, because it's already started. The SCOBY actually assists the vinegar in its development, so usually that's why you put the sugar in, because that's what helps it to start growing. But because I've got the SCOBY from the last time, I don't need to put as much sugar in. I'll just put that off. I'm trying to do this quickly so that you can it's not too boring or anything. So here we go. I mean, if you think about it, you know, when you buy a jar of jam, well I don't because I make mine, but when you buy a jar of jam from the shops, do you think all the fruit that they put through the machines has been checked individually for anything? And if it hasn't been checked individually, then it might be because it's sprayed. Well, we don't know. I'm not saying it is. Honestly, I'm not saying that they spray all the fruit and everything to stop all the insects and everything. But I truly believe, you know, that it's probably, if it isn't sprayed, they just throw it all into a big vat and it all gets mushed up and everything, and the sugars and the cooking process kills everything. And this is how we build up immunities to germs, you see. I don't think we need to be frightened and worried all the time about everything. I think we need to just follow our own inner knowing and our own intuition. That's how I've learned over the years as well. Just try to follow my instinct on things, because that's what we were God-given instinct, you know. So we should use it. Right. It's one of our finest senses, instinct and intuition, you know. So it's a very busy world we live in, and when we're all rushing around, we don't have time to just sit and think and ponder. And I think, to be honest with you, this COVID-19 thing this year that we've all had to go through and still going through here in England, it's been very beneficial in a way, because it's made people realise that they've had the time to stop and get off the treadmill, and they've been able to stop and actually see the reality of, well, actually, you know, it's just nice to spend a bit of time at home with the family, and just nice to get out a bit and just be, you know. And to be honest, you know, you can look on the internet and find out lots of interesting things, and sort of that you'd never really thought about before. I've used it as a tool to help me to learn all sorts of things this year. Whereas normally I'd be running around outside, tending to my field and doing my garden and my flowers and everything all the time, and I've been trying to do orders for people, and I haven't had to this time. It's been quite nice. Right, so here we are, after all that jibber jabbering. here we are, I've got these 3 jars now. So we just get to that, fill them to about that height, and then I was chatting. So what I'm going to do is this one, I'm not going to put SCOBY in that one. I'm just going to guess that it was, actually I'm doing this because I want to stir it. Put it in a jug, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit more. That'll do. Now stir in some filtered water. Give it a good stir. Like that. And pour it into this first one. Just literally pour it over there, so it covers it, okay? Now that hasn't quite covered it, so that's good, because what I can do is rinse it out and pour that over. A little bit more. Right, now what happens is the apples float to the top. Okay, and you have to push them down. But because I've got a SCOBY, which is here, these are what I saved from my last batch that I did. It's a bit of a funny colour now, but this is full of good bacteria that will help the process much faster go along. Okay, so there you go, look, so I've just literally put the SCOBY on top of my jar of apples. So I'm just going to put that there like that. Actually, I'll put the top on now while I'm here, because that will stay like that now, covered. And all you do is you get a piece of kitchen tissue, because it needs to be able to breathe, right? So just put it, a bit of tissue to wipe that first, it's a bit damp. Just put it over like that with a rubber band. Okay, like that. Oh, like that. Now it's at the moment we're into November, it's middle of November, and if it was summer there'd be the chance of a lot of fruit flies and things trying to get into this, but as it's winter there won't be any flies around. But what I'd normally do is put 2 layers of tissue on just to stop the fruit flies getting into it, and if they do get into it, it's not fantastic, but I haven't really had any problem with them. So you just make sure that there's no gaps, and so it can nicely breathe like that. So you leave that and put it somewhere dark, into a cool room if you can, or you can have it in your kitchen on the side, but I like to have it somewhere cool and dark, and I put it away for 6 weeks. Some people say to stir it, but my last lot I didn't stir it, but I did stir the very first one with a wooden spoon. Now if you do want to stir it and keep stirring it, use a wooden spoon, because the metal reacts against the vinegar and you don't want that. So that's what other people have said in their, in their tutorials. Use a wooden spoon to stir it, okay? But like I said, in the last lot I didn't bother to stir it at all. I just left it as it was. So this is my next lot. I'm going to do that again. Get some more. Where have I put my spoon? Oh, it's in here. It's here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And put some water in that. Give it a good stir round. I'm using a metal spoon, but it hasn't started the process yet, so I'm not worried about that, okay? So here we are. I'm going to pour that into the jar. You can see this one a bit better maybe. It hasn't dissolved because it's not hot water, it's cold water, but that's fine. Do some more. Pour that in there. It's just covering. Now, and this one again, I'm going to put my SCOBY on it. This is my SCOBY from last time. It's all in bits and things, but there you go. This is a SCOBY. This is real funny looking stuff, but it does the job. So that is going to sit on top of there, and all that really good bacteria will start the process quicker. And there's some more little bits there, look. Now this is actually called the mother that you get in the apple cider vinegar, okay, or any vinegar. It's called the mother. Now some people call it kombucha. When it's dried, you can buy it from health food stores, I think. It's called kombucha. It's the same thing, but it's dried, and it's like a snack, I think. I haven't bought any, but my son was telling me it's a snack that you can have. So, and it's really good for your health. Of course, apple cider vinegar is really good for your health. If you have it every day, it's good for your gut, and it's got lots of properties for healing many problems with you. In fact, I might do a video about that another day. I might read it out of a book for you and show you what actually is really good for. Which I was amazed at how fantastic it is for you. So I have it every day with some lemon juice and some grated lemon rind in the water. Okay. So now here I've got my last one, and I'll cover that later. Now this one, I'm not going to put any of the SCOBY in. I'm going to do it from fresh start, so that when they're ready in about 6 weeks time, I can show you the difference between the one that's had the SCOBY and having a new SCOBY. So I shall do a video of that in about 6 weeks time. So I'm just going to put some sugar into this. Again, this is a smaller jar, so I'm just going to put 2 and a bit. Okay. So I hope you're going to be inspired to have a go at this, because it's so beneficial for your health and for all the family, and I think you can even use it for your pets as well. There's so many uses for it. So I hope you're going to have a go at that. Now I haven't got a SCOBY to push this down, so what will happen is the apples will keep floating to the top. So what I'm going to do with this one is, you could put something like a glass lid or anything. If you've got anything with a bit of weight to push it down, you could do that. I'm not going to. I'm just going to go into it every day and just push it down with my wooden spoon and just keep it moving, because that's what I did with my first batch, and it just did absolutely fine. And then eventually it formed a SCOBY on top. It's like a little jellified bacterial thing, and SCOBY is really good for you. You know, when you're putting it, when you're filtering it, you want to keep some of that in your vinegar if you can, because that's what's really good for you. Okay, so that's that one. I think I've done that, and then I'm going to put that on there like that, and I'm going to label it as well with this small one is without a SCOBY, and then we'll see what happens. And it's all very exciting, as long as I don't forget it. But to be honest with you, I think if I forgot about it, I don't think it'd matter, but I'll try not to forget. Okay, so here we go. It's a bit tricky. So you can use any of your jars, any tall jars. You could even use a big glass jug and cover it over if you wanted. But I had these Kilner jars, and I thought, oh well, they'll do the job nicely. So there we go. So I've got 3 more jars on the go, and they should be ready. What are we now? They should be ready sometime. I'll probably look after Christmas, probably. So okay, so have a go. I recommend it, and the flavour is not like shop bought. It's really, really nice. So do have a go, and it doesn't matter if you use apples that are shop bought and use all the cores and everything, and it'll make you fantastic vinegar. Okay, thank you.